Hi everyone, this is Richard. In this video we are going to go over the last of the iterables sets. There is Q, which is another iterable, but I don't think we're going to go over that. It's a little bit more advanced. So just to clean up from last time, I just wanted to mention one last thing. MyMap equals... Remember how we added new elements onto a map, right? So we said myMap.addAll, right? There is another way to add elements onto the map itself. So you can define a new keyword or a new key and equal to a value. And that's how you can actually do it. So that's one more way. MyMap.addAll or MyMap open brackets, the key equals to the value. And that's how you add it on top of there. Okay? So I thought that was interesting. I wanted to just finish up from last video itself. So in this video, sets. Remember on list, you said list A equals brackets, right? Sets, you can't actually do that. The way you declare a set or initialize, it's actually declare, equals new set. This is how you actually do it. So this is basically, we'll go into more detail in the future when we talk about classes, but when a new set, a set is what we call a class, and you're creating an instance of the class. Remember when I talked about object-oriented programming, I said you have an idea and you make it into a thing. It's kind of like a recipe and now you make it into a cake. The set is the recipe, it's the idea, and you make it into a cake or a thing. So mySet is the thing. Set in and of itself, you can't do anything. mySet, the variable, is the thing you can do stuff to. What can you do to it? Well, you created the thing, this mySet, and you try and you look at the value and it's an empty set. So you have to start adding stuff to it, right? What do you think that would be? Which method? Add, that's possible. So let's just add the 3 and let's see what happens there. Great, okay, it adds that in there. So how about if you want more than that? Yes, you got it, add all. All right, but if you're going to add more than one, you have to do the same list bracket. So the brackets 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and let's, oh, last bracket, sorry. And let's print it out. And you notice 3 is there multiple times and it only lists it once. What's going on? Remember, it is a set is a unique list of elements in no particular order. Okay, so I don't think I defined that in the beginning, but that's what a set actually is. It's unique. You can only have one value at any particular given time, as opposed to a list. You can have all the values, as many values as you possibly want. In a list, these are in an ordered position: 0, 1, 2, 3. Remember that? In a set, they are not. So why is this important? For example, let's just say you have a zoo and you're trying to advertise and say we have 1,000 different elephants. No, 1,000 different species inside of here. That doesn't tell you how many animals you have. You can have 15 elephants and 10 giraffes, 5 bears, and stuff like that. And it keeps going down the list. But you don't care that you have 10 elephants as opposed to 15 elephants. You know, that's bragging rights, and that's a different commercial. But for this commercial, we're going to say we have 1,000 different species. So as you go down the list of counting all these animals, you don't care about the numbers, you just care about the number of the species. Now, the total animals may be 20,000 animals, but that's a different commercial. You don't care about that. For this one, you want just the unique species. So here, it would be like the unique species is all you really need. And that's what you're getting. And so whenever you think of a set, that's what you want. Okay? But what can you do with these sets? You can't do ordered retrieval like you could with a list, remember? So 3. And it's going to give you a little bit of a warning right here. No such operator in set. Okay, so can't actually do that. You can get some things out of it. Is it empty or not? What's the first value? It can give you at least that. 3. And you probably can get the last value, 7. That's about all you're going to get out of this. And if you look through the length, you can always get that. And again, the length is going to be of the unique characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll give you 7. Good. And let's see here, iterator. I'm not even sure what that means. Iterator, I don't know what that is actually. Link test. I'm gonna have to look into that one further because I really don't know. Add single runtime type, and that's what you can actually get. You can compare it to different sets themselves. So that's one way to create a set. Another way, of course. Oh, by the way, you could create it into a list, right? You can, but if you can create it to a list, you can go my list equals 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 1, 5, 6. Okay. And then what you would do is print my list. That's the list we have. Repetitive numbers, 3s, 2s, right? But if you want to create it into a create this into a set, so I counted all of these animals, and now I need to find out what are the unique animals. So list, new list, whoops, new list, camel case, remember, equals my list.toSet. We'll create it into a set. A set cannot be assigned a value to variable type list. Whoops. Oh, I'm trying to. Okay. See? There it goes. Dart editor is helping me out here. Okay. So print new. Bad name for a variable. Okay. I'm naming a variable new list and it's actually a set. Okay. Don't do that. And so it basically chops down all into unique values themselves. And you can convert it back if you want to, if there's any particular need. Hey, I want to, okay, now I got this, now I want to change my list. Remember, I already declared it, so I don't need to declare it more than once. The editor already knows my list is a variable, so my list equals new list.toList. So if we're going to print my list again, that's actually in list form, and we could now get an information out of it. 0, 1, 2, 3, that's going to give you value number 1. Right? Okay, so pretty straightforward. The last thing I wanted to go over really quickly was simply this. If you go to like mySet, it's getting a little bit messy here, sorry. mySet.addAll, for example. Okay, add, it gives you a bool. All right, so what does that actually mean? Remember the type? That's the type of information you're going to get out of it. So for example, let's just say you have a friend of yours and you're asking them to do things. So you can say, can you tell me what the cake is, what shape the cake is? And they'll look at the cake and they'll say it's round. You can say, what's the temperature today? They'll look at the thermometer and say, oh, it's 97 degrees or something like that. What you can actually, or if you're out of the United States, it's, I don't know, 37 degrees, something like that, Celsius. But sometimes you want a method to do something, right? So sometimes you want some information. mySet.length, right? You want to get the length of the set. So you're basically asking a person, asking somebody information about the object, and they'll give you the information back. Sometimes you don't want to get information back. You just want to get something done. So you'll tell your friend, cut the cake, turn on the air conditioning, pet the dog. Okay, so if you tell the friend to pet the dog, sometimes you want feedback back. You want to say, pet the dog, tell me when you pet the dog, and So I know the dog has been pet, okay? But sometimes I don't want that information. In this circumstance, I'm going to say bool, let's just say dog, okay, for mySet.add, and I'm going to say 0, okay? And then let's print dog. So what am I actually doing? What I'm saying is that mySet.add, and if you looked at it here, it adds something, but it's a bool also. And when you read it, it says add value into the set, return true if value was added to the set. Okay, fair enough. So 0, print dog, and let's say print mySet. Okay? So we're going to print it. It added the 0. This is getting messy. I'm going to have to delete it. It added the 0 on top of it, and therefore it returned true. True, it added it. What if I put a 3 here? And what's going to happen? It's saying false. So in other words, it did not actually add 0 into the set. Why not? I'm sorry, 3 into the set. Why not? It was already there. If it's unique, it's already there. You can't add it. Therefore, it gives you feedback of false. Okay, so in other words, pet the dog and tell me when you pet it. And there's a snake in front of the dog, so your friend didn't really want to pet the dog, and he comes back and says, I did not pet the dog. And then, you at least get some information that the dog needs petting, assuming the snake doesn't eat it, okay? So what you have here also is, you see some other values like void. What does void actually mean? Void means that you don't actually return anything. So that's the situation where go pet the dog. I don't want to hear about it. Just go ahead and do it. Okay, so snake or no snake, just pet the freaking dog. So in that particular circumstance, even if you're not able to add anything on top of it, bool doesn't exist. There is nothing that's actually returned. Or actually, even if nothing gets added on top of here, there's nothing that's actually going to give you a return itself. Do you remember back in the very beginning when it looked like this, void.main? Void is basically a way of saying main is the starting point. It's the starting point of all Dart programs. If it's the starting point, you don't return something to yourself. You don't give yourself information. You go elsewhere for information and get it for yourself. So void is basically the computer's way of saying no returning is necessary. Void is a type of type, and we will use that in the future. But just to let you know, in case you run into things like this, it's like, what does that actual void mean itself? It means you don't return anything. These return something. Bool. This returns the type of type. Integer. Again, I don't know what iterator is. Bools, integers. The element itself. But if you see void, that basically means you don't return anything. But by the way, for the record, returning nothing. What does returning nothing in Dart mean? Or bool a, I think we said dog equals. Let's see what this actually says. Null. So remember, anything that is not specifically defined has the value of null. If it's void, it returns a null. Okay, so it doesn't actually give you a type error, it just gives you null instead. Okay, so I think that has to do with that's all of the basics. From here on out, we're going to go over the rest of programming, which is the logic itself. Thank you.